The courtroom doors opened at 1:30 p.m., and 19-year-old Emma Rodriguez walked in looking terrified. She wore a Target uniform, her name tag still pinned to her shirt from her morning shift, and carried a worn backpack stuffed with papers. Her eyes were red from crying, and her hand shook as she approached the defendant's table. Behind her, a woman in her early 40s followed, arms crossed defensively. This was Linda Rodriguez, Emma's mother, and she looked annoyed rather than concerned. Before we dive into what happened in that courtroom, if you believe in justice and want to support a new channel dedicated to sharing these powerful stories, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. Every subscription helps us bring more of Judge Caprio's wisdom to light. The bailiff called the case, The People versus Emma Marie Rodriguez, case number 2024, CV 21456. Civil matter, unpaid credit card debt, $45,382. Creditor, First National Bank. Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Your Honor, I don't understand why I'm here. I never had a credit card. Judge Frank Caprio looked up from the file, his 37 years on the bench immediately sensing something was wrong. This wasn't a typical debt case. Ms. Rodriguez, please approach the bench. And ma'am in the gallery, are you family? Linda stood up. I'm her mother, Your Honor. I'm here to support my daughter. Please come forward as well. Emma walked to the bench on shaking legs, her mother following with visible irritation. Judge Caprio studied the file carefully. Ms. Rodriguez, according to these documents, you have 4 credit cards with First National Bank, all opened between 2021 and 2023. The combined debt is $45,382. Do you recognize these accounts? No, Your Honor. I've never applied for a credit card. I only found out about this debt 3 weeks ago when I tried to get a student loan for community college. They rejected me because my credit score is 430. I didn't even know what that meant until the financial aid officer explained it to me. Judge Caprio picked up a document. These cards were opened when you were 16 and 17 years old. Did you give anyone permission to use your information? Emma's eyes filled with tears. No, Your Honor. Ms. Rodriguez, do you know how someone could have accessed your personal information, your social security number, your date of birth? Before Emma could answer, Linda stepped forward. Your Honor, I can explain this. I'm Emma's mother. I opened those cards to help our family during difficult times. I was a single mother raising a daughter alone. Money was tight. I did what I had to do to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. The courtroom went completely silent. Judge Caprio looked at Linda, then at Emma, then back at Linda. Mrs. Rodriguez, are you saying you opened credit cards in your daughter's name without her knowledge or permission? I'm her mother. I have the right to use her information when necessary. I raised her by myself. Her father left when she was 2. Do you know how hard it is to raise a child alone? Sometimes you have to make difficult financial decisions. Emma was crying now, quietly, her shoulders shaking. Judge Caprio's expression shifted from confusion to something harder. Mrs. Rodriguez, that's called identity theft. It's a crime. Linda's voice rose defensively. It's not theft when it's your own daughter. I gave birth to her. I changed her diapers. I fed her. I clothed her. After everything I sacrificed for her, I think I'm entitled to use her credit when I needed it. You're entitled to commit fraud against your own child. It's not fraud. It's family. Emma, tell the judge. Tell him how I took care of you all those years. Emma looked at her mother through tears. Mom, you destroyed my credit. I can't get student loans. I can't rent an apartment. I'm working 2 jobs just to survive. And now I find out I owe $45,000 for things I never bought. What happened next would reveal the full horror of the situation. Judge Caprio picked up a stack of credit card statements. Mrs. Rodriguez, I'm looking at the charges on these cards. can you tell me what these purchases were for? Because I'm seeing charges at casinos, luxury retailers, jewelry stores. I'm seeing cash advances totaling over $12,000. How exactly did these charges help keep a roof over Emma's head? Linda's face flushed. Those charges are taken out of context. Sometimes I needed to relax. Sometimes I needed to treat myself. Do you know how stressful it is being a single parent? So, you committed identity theft against your daughter to gamble and buy luxury items? I was going to pay it back. I had a system at the casino. I just needed a few good wins, and I would have paid everything off. Emma's voice broke. Mom, you told me last year you won $5,000 at the casino. You said you were going to help me with college. You never gave me anything. I had expenses, Emma. I had bills. You don't understand how expensive it is to... You bought a Gucci purse. I saw it in your closet. That's $2,000 right there. Linda turned on her daughter. After everything I did for you, you're going to stand here and attack me? I gave up my life to raise you. The least you could do is help me when I need it. If Judge Caprio's compassion moves you, like it moves millions of others, show your support by subscribing to our channel. We're just starting out, and your subscription means everything. Judge Caprio held up his hand. Mrs. Rodriguez, stop talking. Emma, I need you to tell me exactly what happened. When did you find out about this debt? Emma wiped her eyes. 3 weeks ago, Your Honor. I'm trying to go to Rhode Island Community College for nursing. I work at Target in the morning and at a restaurant at night. I saved $3,000 for tuition, but when I applied for financial aid to cover the rest, they said I was denied because of my credit history. I didn't even know I had a credit history. What did you do when you found out? I pulled my credit report like the financial aid officer told me to. That's when I saw 4 credit cards I'd never opened. The first one was opened 3 years ago, when I was 16. I called the credit card company, and they said the cards were opened with my social security number and address. They sent me copies of the applications. Judge Caprio picked up the applications. And whose handwriting is on these applications? My mother's, Your Honor. I recognized it immediately. She signed my name, but it's her handwriting. What did you do then? I confronted her. She said she did it to help us, that she was going to pay it back. But Your Honor, we never had money problems. We lived in a decent apartment. I always had food. She always had nice clothes and went out with friends. I didn't know she was spending all this money. Linda interrupted. Because I protected you from the stress. I didn't want you worrying about finances. I handled everything. Judge Caprio's voice turned cold. You handled everything by destroying your daughter's financial future before she even turned 18. I was going to fix it. I just needed more time. How much have you paid toward these debts, Mrs. Rodriguez? Linda hesitated. I've been making minimum payments. According to these statements, you've missed payments for the past 6 months. The debt has gone to collections. Your daughter is being sued for $45,000 that you spent. How are you planning to fix this? I have a plan. I'm working on it, Emma spoke quietly. Your Honor, my mother hasn't had a job in 2 years. She says she's looking, but mostly she goes to the casino. She borrows money from me for groceries, but I find casino receipts in her purse. Emma, don't you dare. Mrs. Rodriguez, be quiet. Judge Caprio turned to Emma. How much money have you given your mother? About $200 a month, Your Honor. I thought it was helping with rent and food. I didn't know she was gambling it. Where do you live now? I moved out 6 months ago. I share a studio apartment with a friend. We pay $800 a month each. It's all I can afford with my 2 jobs. And you're trying to go to college? Yes, Your Honor. I want to be a nurse. I want to help people. But now, I can't get student loans because my credit is destroyed. The $3,000 I saved won't even cover 1 semester. Judge Caprio looked at the file again, then at Linda, then at Emma. When he spoke, His voice carried a weight of sadness and anger that made the courtroom hold its breath. "Mrs. Rodriguez, I've been on this bench for 37 years. I've seen parents make mistakes. I've seen families struggle with money. But what you did to your daughter, this isn't a mistake. This is betrayal. This is abuse. I'm her mother. I have rights. You have responsibilities. You were supposed to protect your daughter, to help her build a future. Instead, you stole her identity, destroyed her credit, and saddled her with debt that could take decades to recover from. And for what? Casino trips? Designer purses? Your own selfish desires? You don't understand what it's like. I understand that Emma is 19 years old, working 2 jobs, trying to better herself through education, and you sabotaged her before she even had a chance. I understand that while she was working and saving, you were gambling away money stolen in her name. I understand that when she discovered your crime, instead of apologizing, you tried to justify it by claiming you raised her." Linda's face crumpled. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I really was going to pay it back." "How? You don't have a job. You're gambling away your daughter's money. You've made no payments in 6 months. Mrs. Rodriguez, let me be very clear about what's going to happen now." The courtroom was dead silent. "First, I'm entering a finding that Emma Rodriguez is a victim of identity theft. She bears no legal responsibility for these debts. I'm ordering First National Bank to remove all these accounts from her credit report immediately and to cease all collection activities against her." Emma's knees nearly gave out. "Your Honor, really?" "Really. You didn't incur this debt. You're not responsible for it." "But what about the bank? Don't they lose the money?" "The bank has fraud insurance for situations like this. What they'll do next is up to them, but you are not liable." Linda started to speak, but Judge Caprio cut her off. "Second, Mrs. Rodriguez, you are now legally responsible for this $45,380 debt. I'm ordering you to pay $500 per month to First National Bank until this debt is satisfied. Failure to make these payments will result in wage garnishment if you ever get a job or seizure of any assets you possess." $500 a month? I don't have that kind of money." "Then I suggest you get a job and stop gambling." Third, I'm referring this case to the Rhode Island Attorney General's Office for Criminal Prosecution of Identity Theft. What you did is a felony. You face up to 3 years in prison and fines up to $100,000. Linda's face went white. "You're sending me to prison?" "I'm sending the case to prosecutors. They'll decide whether to press charges. But Mrs. Rodriguez, you committed a crime against your own daughter. There must be consequences." "She's my daughter. I can't go to prison. Who will take care of her?" Emma's voice was quiet but firm. "I take care of myself, Mom. I've been taking care of myself." Judge Caprio pulled out a business card. "Emma, I'm referring you to the Rhode Island Center for Financial Recovery. They're a nonprofit organization that helps victims of identity theft rebuild their credit and their financial lives. They can help you access emergency student aid, teach you about credit management, and support you as you work toward your nursing degree. I'm also ordering the court to waive all filing fees associated with this case. You shouldn't have to pay a penny to clear your name." Emma took the card with trembling hands. "Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much." "Emma, I want you to understand something. What your mother did wasn't your fault. You are not responsible for her choices, her debts, or her problems. You deserve the chance to build your own life, your own future, without carrying the weight of her mistakes." Tears streamed down Emma's face. "I just wanted to help people. I wanted to be a nurse. And you will be. Don't let this stop you." As the hearing concluded, Linda tried to approach Emma, but her daughter stepped back. "Mom, I love you. But I can't trust you anymore. I can't let you keep hurting me. Emma, please. The court has made its ruling, Judge Caprio said quietly. Mrs. Rodriguez, I suggest you leave your daughter alone and focus on addressing your gambling addiction and finding employment. You have 14 days to make your first payment to the bank. Court is adjourned. 3 months later, Emma Rodriguez walked into Rhode Island Community College as a nursing student. The Center for Financial Recovery had helped her access emergency grants and scholarships. Her credit score had jumped 200 points after the fraudulent accounts were removed. She was still working 2 jobs, but now she had hope. Linda Rodriguez had gotten a job at a grocery store and was making her court-ordered payments. Barely. She'd also joined Gamblers Anonymous after the court mandated it as part of her criminal case. The Attorney General's office had charged her with identity theft, but offered a plea deal, probation, and continued payment of the debt in exchange for no jail time. She took it. Mother and daughter didn't speak for over a year. Then, one day, Linda showed up at Emma's workplace with something Emma had never heard before: a genuine apology. I was wrong, Linda said simply. I was selfish and cruel, and I hurt you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking you to know that I'm getting help. I'm trying to change, and I'm sorry. Emma didn't forgive her that day, but she didn't walk away either. It was a start. If this story touched your heart, if you believe judges like Frank Caprio represent the best of our justice system, please support our new channel by subscribing and liking this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear that justice and compassion can coexist. Comment below with your city. Let's build a community that believes in fairness for all. 2 years later, Emma graduated from nursing school with honors. She got a job at Rhode Island Hospital making $65,000 a year. Her credit score was 720. She'd saved enough for a security deposit on her own apartment. And she'd learned that sometimes the people who hurt you most are the ones who claim to love you. But that doesn't mean you have to accept that hurt. Linda completed her payments over 5 years, working full-time and attending GA meetings weekly. The criminal charges were eventually dismissed. She and Emma had a careful, distant relationship. They had coffee once a month, but Emma never shared her financial information again. Judge Caprio kept Emma's Target name tag. She'd given it to him when she graduated nursing school, on his desk as a reminder that some cases aren't about traffic tickets or parking violations. They're about protecting vulnerable people from those who should protect them. The story became a teaching case in law schools and social work programs about financial abuse within families. It highlighted how parents can weaponize their children's identities and how the legal system can intervene to protect young adults from family exploitation. Emma walked into that courtroom believing she was a debtor who'd somehow failed. She walked out understanding she was a victim who'd survived. And in that courtroom, Judge Caprio didn't just deliver justice. He delivered validation, protection, and hope for a 19-year-old who deserved all 3. That's not just justice. That's humanity.